Hey, this is Ryan from 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar podcast. Today I'm going to have some fun shooting out the Source Audio Ventris Reverb on its outboard spring setting to the classic Boss FRV-1 and the Catalinbread Topanga spring reverb. I've used both of these pedals as examples of really drippy, surfy spring reverb pedals that work for the sounds that I need in previous videos. I use them as the benchmark to compare to all sorts of other pedals that are trying to do the same thing. So here we are. Let's check it out. I've got my heavily modified Mexican Strat here. The only thing that's original on it is the neck and the wood in the body. Honestly, everything's been changed on it. All right, let's get started. Here's my dry signal. And here is the Boss FRV-1. Here is the Topanga. And here is the Source Audio Ventris. So let's rewind and talk about the Boss FRV-1 a little bit. This is the first pedal that came out to my knowledge that really nailed that drippy sound of the Fender outboard unit. It's a classic sound that people in like the surf rock scene fight over like just constantly and are always trying to get like just the perfect sound that's in their head. You can really hear that drip in there, especially when I turned up the tone a little bit. The downsides to this pedal is that it can be really overly bright, really metallic, and kind of ear-splitting if you don't have it dialed in just right. I actually run the Topanga after this on my surf rock board, just because the Topanga's trail seems to help mellow out some of the harshness that comes with the FRV-1. Also, it seems like the drip sound is kind of like a triggered sound effect. It's not really coming from your playing dynamics. It's something that your playing dynamics triggers, like a sound effect that's being played or something like that. It doesn't seem to really change much with your key or whatever note you're playing. It's just there. The trail changes. The trail is a true reverb that changes with your pitch and everything. But that drip, just like I said, it sounds like a triggered effect to me. I guess it changes a little bit, but it's like there's just something, you know, like when you hear a white noise machine and it claims to be random or something like that, but then you hear the place where the recording starts over. Like after a while, your ear just starts to get fatigued and like it's just the same sound over and over again. It's not something that's happening because of your playing. Now the Topanga sounds great in my opinion. It's got a really nice surfy voicing to it. And one of my favorite things about this pedal is that it takes drives really well. I don't have a drive set up to show that off, unfortunately. I should have thought that out. But yeah, you can stack drives before this or behind it, wherever you want to do. And it doesn't filter them or get muddy or weird. It lets the character of the drive come through, where the FRV-1 really doesn't handle that well. It puts like a filtering sound over whatever drive you have in front of it. And that's one of the reasons why I like to stack the Topanga behind the Boss, is because it doesn't add any more coloration to it, and it helps mellow a few things out. Something about the Topanga is that it's not a true drip. It's got a really nice surfy voice to it, but it's more of like a pre-delay, like clank or like thud that happens after you're playing. It's not this this like drippy sound that you would get from a true spring outboard reverb. But as far as pedals go, it does a great job of getting really, really close without being some sort of like heavy digital, computer box, which is what the Ventris is. The Ventris is a serious computer box of reverb. And let's check out the drip on this thing. I really, 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 really like the sound of this thing. It has a drip that feels like a true drip. It changes with your playing. The drip feels a little bit different with each playing dynamic. There's a really nice, like, bouncy trail. It feels like you can hear the springs like rattling around and compressing back and forth, like the different waves of reverb splashing against each other. They did a great job modeling the sound of a drippy reverb pedal or drippy reverb unit. You know what I mean. But anyways, where this thing really shines is, yeah, it's got the tonality. It has that true drip sound, but you can adjust almost everything on it. And the controls aren't like true like representations of the controls on a Fender outboard unit, the way that the Boss FRV-1 tries to be, and even the 3 controls on the Topanga outside of the volume. This is supposed to be the dwell knob, and it just doesn't have the range of the dwell knob on a Fender unit, but it does kind of the same thing. The tone is split into 2 different things. There's a treble control, and then there's a low end control, where on a Fender unit, you would just have one tone control. But it really excels in just letting you experiment and get the sound, the drippy sound that's in your head. Because, to be honest, even with a true outboard unit, like a tube reverb unit from Fender, you kind of get what you get from it. There's not a lot you can do outside of swapping components to change the sound a whole lot. You can go brighter, you can go with more drip or less drip, more trail or less trail, but there's some options in here that really let you tweak your sound and explore, sounds that you can't get with your standalone tube unit. And I'm really enjoying that part of it. Balancing the time control against the mix control, balancing the pre-delay, which honestly I like to have turned almost all the way down for my drippy reverb sound. Adjusting the treble and the low end. I like to dime the low end and pull the treble back a bit. It makes a really nice, smooth sound compared to, a more traditional, like bright and brittle sound that you get from reverb units that people are honestly always trying to fight with their real units. So I'm really impressed with this thing so far. I'm loving the sound of it. I've got maybe about 5 or 6 hours of playtime in this thing so far, so I've still got a lot to learn. I have plugged it in my computer and messed with all the extra settings, and there's a bunch of extra settings. It's easy to save settings. It's easy to scroll through them. You turn it off, and you can scroll through your 4 presets down here. I have a drippy reverb preset right here on the number 2 spot, which is fun. It's got a tremolo mix on it. The mod verb you can see is selected. There's just so much you can do with this pedal. And then, people have been chatting about the price of these things. When you consider that I use both these pedals for my surf rock act to get the sound that I've been chasing, and I can get a better sound, in my opinion, with this thing, these together, if I went and bought them off of Reverb right now, would cost me as much as this does. And it uses up slightly less space than these do together on my board. So to me, the price is really not an issue with this thing if you're talking about trying to get a drippy surf reverb in a pedal. I mean, this thing is clearly superior to my ear and to my thoughts on it. Like, I've talked to a few other surf rock guitarists about this pedal, and they've been like, yeah, it's expensive, but I would spend like $250 on a standalone pedal that just makes the drippy sound and does it well as this thing does. And the fact that it comes with so many other settings and so many other things you can do with it, I think justifies the price. It's a pretty incredible thing. It's a pretty incredible sound coming from this pedal. All right, I'm going to play out, have some fun. Maybe I'll stack them all. Let's have some fun, right? I don't think I'm even going to do, yeah, I'll do a loop. Why not? All right, like, subscribe, dislike, support us on Patreon if you like this channel. Later, guys.